what we don't realize is the one thing that we have, the one greatest gift that we have is choice. And it's beautiful, but we've got it so skewed. We think that we need to choose according to some weird parameters that mostly have to do with taking care of other people or not being too much or somehow fitting in with some box that everybody else seems to know exists that we grew up with that we didn't know it existed. So it's kind of like we learned that it was there, and that's what we've learned, and that's what we think choice is, but it's not. We are more beautiful than that. We are greater than that. We have more capacity than that. It's just somebody needs to show us. It's interesting because one of the things I've noticed is it's not in our worlds at all when we're tiny. Like little babies don't have any of this, which is one of the reasons we just love being around them. And also, like if you have a really bad day or whatever and you're around a little baby, isn't it weird that you kind of get over your bad day because you're in the presence of a baby? Like that's kind of the way it should be. But what I've seen happens is we go along living our lives. We don't really understand judgment. We don't believe in judgment. And if we're gonna talk about what one of the biggest killers of choice is, and one of the biggest creators of heaviness, judgment. And so we're going along living our lives, and that's not a reality to us until somewhere around 7 or 8 years old, where something happens. It's like we've had enough accumulation over the years, and something happens where somebody says something to us, or does something, or takes something from us, or judges us in a particular way, and all of a sudden, boom! Now it's real. And so, from what I've seen and working with lots of people, it seems to occur right around 7 or 8 years old for most people, where before that they were able to just be footloose and fancy free, and they could do whatever they wanted and everything was okay. And from that point forward, shit got real. And I mean literally, like, and not in a good way. Like judgment became real, stress became real. And I know you wouldn't think of a 7 or 8 year old as stressing out, but there was this whole other element that gets introduced to people's realities. And from that point forward, people are trying to figure it out. How do I exist and survive? How do I do it the right way? How do I make sure that I'm not too much? And that's really when it starts, and then when people get to their teenagers, we see it just explode. It takes on a whole new life of its own. It's on steroids, because you take this new thing called judgment that wasn't in your world before, and now you add hormones. Oh, oof, and pending adulthood. Oh, goodness. So, and a lot of us, if you recognize that child is still in there, the one that didn't know how to judge. And to a certain extent, a lot of us are really looking around going, I just want to be happy. Like, why it gotta be so yucky for so much of my life? And why so many people gotta be so yucky and unhappy? I just want to be happy. If I had kids, here's what I would do. I would sit them down every day. I would look into their eyes and I would say, you are such an incredibly beautiful creature. You are a gift to this world. What anybody else has as their judgment of you or anything about you is never correct. Judgment is always wrong. Judgment is always a lie. Please do not buy into it. Please do not buy into that for yourself. Please recognize that you are a unique gift, the likes of which the world has never seen. And to the best of my ability, I will be here every day to show you that. And I want you to know that you can never do wrong in my eyes. I will always be here as your best friend and your greatest support system for as long as you're willing to have me. And I want you to know that I'm so grateful you are in my life. You make my life and this world a greater place every day by your presence. We know truth when we hear it. Lies have so much more intensity. We've been conditioned that we need to address those rather than live in the lightness of what's true and allow what's true to nurture us and be the fundamental part of living that we get to choose and that we get to live. Okay, so how about this, everybody? And this may or may not totally land cognitively, but energetically, hopefully it does. I'd like to have us all hold hands in the moments before this thing started that I'm talking about. And I know it's not just one moment, but there's one moment where judgment becomes real, okay? And I would like to hold all of your hands, and let's all hold hands as the creatures that are miraculous beyond judgment, something basically beyond reality as we know it, that little kids get the freedom to be. What happens is from that moment, so you are being, there is nothing wrong. You have a sense of lightness, even if you grow up with heaviness, even if you grow up with abuse, it doesn't stick. It's like water off a duck's back in a lot of ways. And I know because I experienced it a lot and it was very intense. And I still was like, okay, until this moment. So I'd like you to look at you and tap into that you before judgment and what we call messed reality. The matter and the time of things became a reality for you. And what I'd like you to notice is I'd like you to notice that there you were feeling like a stranger in a strange land. This new foreign thing had come into your world. And now, right before that, you were light, happy, and free, getting to be you. And then the total invalidation of that hits you like a tsunami. And it's like, and in a certain way, we're not only stuck, but we seem somewhat paralyzed by this even existing in the world, and then also this being directed at us. And so if you'll notice, this thing of us always looking for the heavy, it actually started way back then and way back when. Now we could talk about thousands of things and unpack a lot of things, but it started way back then when that became a reality. So everything y'all did to make that a reality, and everything that we might be able to choose right now to say yes to going beyond it and to not having that as the fundamental reference point for our entire existence, will you say yes, please? And there's so many ramifications of this, like when people have kids and they repeat it and all this sort of stuff. Okay. What I'd like us to do is I would like us all to hold hands energetically. And if it's too cheesy for you, it's okay. Do it anyway. I'd like us all to hold hands. Okay. And I'd like you to get a sense that all these people have your back. You're no longer alone. Okay. And we don't like judgment any more than you do. And we together are going somewhere different. We are choosing something different. We're choosing to create a world in which judgment is not the most significant item and is not the judgment, the separation, and everything that comes from it. Okay. The bullying, the abuse, the poverty, the meanness, the self-criticism, all that. Okay. We're saying yes to being those creators of a world beyond it. And I would like you to see, as you are no longer alone, that you have thousands of people with you holding your hands, and we are all holding hands. And this group of people will be a contribution to you for the rest of your life. You are no longer alone. You are no longer wrong. You are no longer alone. You are no longer wrong. You are no longer alone. You are no longer wrong. Let's say yes to something dynamically different. We don't have to suffer anymore. It is time to begin to thrive now. And I'd like the people listening, I'd like all you guys to know that there's something different that we have the ability to choose now. So much proving going on, but also so much of what we're supposed to do. Like how we're supposed to be. Ooh, I'm supposed to be tired. I'm supposed to not have enough time. I'm supposed to. I mean, we live a huge amount of our lives from I'm supposed to. And the funny part is we very seldom ask, what would I truly like to choose? What would be fun for me? If I could choose anything, what would it be? I mean, I would love to say I walk around my life like Superman. Um, I think I would love to say that. It just sounds awesome, like superpowers all the time. But it's like, I live on this planet too, and there's people and stuff. And so, there are times where it'll be there's so many times where whether it's a business thing or it's something that involves what other people have as a point of view about what they require, desire, and then I'll go, okay, if what do I truly desire here? What am I capable of creating here? And here's a weird side note is every time I've asked that and there's been a business element to it, which a lot of people don't necessarily relate to that. But when there's been an element of it where other people are involved, the way I thought it would work is if I desire something different, I thought then somehow that would either be bad for everybody else or they wouldn't go along with it or they want to stop me. But I found when I go, what do I truly desire? And I add that to the mix, oftentimes it's part of what we'll choose because I'm including a different perspective, but also I'm including other people in that choice because I'm not looking to exclude anybody. So I think a lot of us feel like if we're choosing for us, we're going to exclude people. In actuality, when your batteries are filled, when you have been nurturing you and asking, okay, what would I like to choose? If I could choose anything here, what would it be? And if I were choosing what's true for me, because what's true for you always makes you lighter and it gives you more lightness and more energy. When you choose from what's not, it makes you heavier, it makes you feel twisted, contracted, and tired. That's where a lot of the tiredness comes from, is from choosing what's not really true for us while acting like it is. Because there's a cognitive dissonance in that also, thinking this must be true for me. But if it's making you heavy and tired, it's not what's true for you. What's true for you makes you light and gives you energy. And so the awareness that when you choose more for you, you actually have a lot more to give to others. You become a much more of a contribution, both awareness-wise, but also energy-wise, but also kindness-wise. Like the people that have a lot to give also have a lot for themselves. You start to realize that the point of view that we take creates the reality we live, and that we have choice over.